So before I begin the review of these two quarterfinal games to wrap up the quarterfinal action in the World Cup, unfortunately I have to talk about something that I'm pretty sure you all have aware that happened yesterday, where we saw the tragic death of Grant Wahl yesterday, and that I know there was a lot of speculation. The fact that when it was announced that Grant Wahl has passed away in Qatar, that when his brother basically posted a message on his Instagram talk about there was foul play involved. There was a lot of speculation that of course is the case, because he's been very outspoken in terms of this World Cup about LGBTQ rights, and that he's been wearing that rainbow shirt with the soccer ball, and that multiple times he has been asked to take it off, and even been detained at the stadium for wearing that. And that as the day goes along, it feels like there's a speculation that he actually did pass away because of health problem, because leading up to the day he has been having problems with his chest, and some even say that he has bronchitis problem leading up to the game that he covered between the Netherlands versus Argentina, and even some that have criticized the fact that the stadium did not have any defibrillator to basically revive him when he collapsed after covering that Netherlands versus Argentina game. But as the day goes by, we'll definitely get more speculation. I'll definitely talk more about it in the News of the Week episode. But besides that, my sincere condolence has to go out to his family and his friends. I mean, again, it's just a very sad, tragic news that not only affect the American soccer community, but it was a huge talking point in the world itself. I mean, Grant Wahl, he has meant so much to the American soccer community. He was really just a pioneer in terms of journalists in the soccer community. Really kind of inspired a lot of well-known beat writer in MLS and even in the American soccer community nowadays. And that, yeah, it's a very tragic death. It's certainly that I don't think anybody would imagine would happen. But like I said, my sincere condolence and definitely my empathy toward the family, and also the friends of Grant Wahl, who I can't imagine what they have to go through after seeing one of their loved ones just pass away. But that being said, on a more lighter note, let's actually now talk about these two quarterfinal games to wrapped up in terms of the quarterfinal action of this World Cup. And the good news is we actually didn't have any game that got into extra time. And again, I know I say this is good news because of the fact that I came very close yesterday in terms of running out of Rome. I mean, you can even see it in the other game between the Netherlands and Argentina, that I actually came so close of just running out of Rome, and that I actually couldn't find my travel board, that little mini whiteboard that I had. So I had to maybe even grab my second board and kind of do something I did in the MLS Cup, where I kind of had to switch from one big board to another big board. But that being said, in the first game we're going to talk about is Portugal versus Morocco. And throughout this tournament, I have definitely made some bad prediction, especially in the group stage, where I don't even want to do a video looking back at some of the bad prediction that I made. But even in the prediction that I made in terms of the knockout round, and when I fell out the bracket, the team that I picked to win the World Cup got eliminated yesterday. That is Brazil. But if there's one thing that I at least got right, and especially on the right side of the bracket, I got that one spotly right, because I did say that Morocco was going to make that Cinderella run, and they're going to be like Croatia last year, where it's going to be a team that you least expect them to potentially go all the way, and yet they are now just one step away to do that, and also making some history too, becoming the first African team to make it to the World Cup semifinal after beating Portugal 1-0 in this game. Now, early on, there was a lot of possession for Portugal as Morocco was looking to sit back. And again, this was always the game plan coming into this one, with Morocco trying to sit back, trying to absorb as much pressure as possible, and maybe hit the opposition on the counterattack and on the set piece, which, by the way, they're one of the most dangerous teams so far this tournament, especially on the set piece or on those crosses that comes in. And just a little spoiler alert, it's no surprise that the only goal that they score in this one came from the ball comes into the box. But in the fourth minute, Bono did deny João Felix on the header before Enazuri hits it just high from close range. By the way, Ronaldo was not starting in this game once again, which I don't think that surprised a lot of people because after the incredible hat-trick performance that Gonzalo Ramos put in, there was no doubt that they had to start him in this one. Although I will say that he didn't have as much effect in this one, but a lot of that has to do with the Moroccan defense. They were pretty much shutting down most of these dangerous Portuguese attacker throughout this entire game. But in the 26th minute, En-Nesyri had another chance, but he hits it high from the free kick. And again, this game seems like it's playing into Moroccan's hands. Like Portugal, they were unable to break down the Moroccan low block, and Morocco was finding chances on the set piece and on the counter, which is what you need to do if you want to, of course, win the game. If you're a team that is maybe in fear or go with the philosophy of trying to kind of go with the bend or don't break kind of philosophy at the back, and then be optimistic going forward on the attack. Now, in the 31st minute, João Felix did head a shot that was deflected and goes wide before he puts it high from long range. I mean, João Felix definitely had a share of his chances for Portugal in this one, but just couldn't put it away. But one player that did put it away is En-Nesyri, as he scored here from Ate Allah to give Morocco a 1-0 lead. And, you know, while this was a great delivery into the box there where En-Nesyri was able to get there before Diego Costa was able to punch that one away. I mean, you know, when I see that kind of happen, I knew I had to immediately wrote that Costa should have got there first. Like when you're the goalkeeper and you come off your line and trying to punch the away, if you don't get there first, then you're going to get some criticism. And here, you know, for Diego Costa, he just kind of maybe came off the lines a little bit too late. And that because of that, he wasn't able to punch that one away. And Morocco has that 1-0 lead. And again, this looked like it just played right into Morocco's hand, because now they're going to continue to drop deep and just go into pretty much almost go into park the bus mode, and just frustrates the hell of this Portuguese team that are trying to chase this game. Though that being said, they almost concede just 3 minutes after taking the lead when Bruno Fernandes actually hits one off the volley, and I don't know how he was able to hit this one so sweetly there, but that one struck the post. And there was a huge shout then for Portugal that was not given before Atiala actually went through on goal here, but only finds Sasai netting. Yeah, he's definitely want to have that one back, because when you are given those kind of opportunity, if you're Morocco, you have to put it away. I mean, they did put away one just a couple of minutes ago, but you know dearly that they would have been a little bit more comfortable if they were 2-0 up heading into the second half. But they'll definitely take the 1-0 lead as we head to the second half. And in the second half, Portugal then brings some reinforcement as Ronaldo and Cancelo was summoned off the bench. Ramos then heads it wide from close range before Bruno Fernandes puts it wide from the top of the 18. Bono then had to tip a dangerous corner behind, and again, Portugal, they were coming. They were knocking on the door of getting the equalizer. But the question is, can they break through against this Moroccan bus that is just firmly parked? Like Morocco, they were putting like 11 men behind the box. They were trying to hold on to this 1-0 lead. And in the 82nd minute, Bono had to deny João Felix from close range. I mean, again, Bono, it's been an incredible performance so far in this tournament. Again, another guy that, you know, we talk about great goalkeepers in this tournament. Not a lot of people have give credit to Bono in this tournament. He's been coming up big for Morocco, even though I know he hasn't played every single game. And that, get this, coming out of this game, Morocco has yet to concede a goal against the opposition. Yes, I know they did concede in that game against Canada, but that was the own goal. But they haven't conceded a goal where their opposition actually score a goal, and they're the only team to not able to do so. So to say that this defense has been rock solid is an understatement. Like, nobody has been able to get through this Moroccan wall. But in the first minute of stoppage time, Ronaldo actually went through on goal there, but he hits that one right to Bono. I mean, that was the chance for Cristiano Ronaldo, who, you know, it's been a kind of a frustrating tournament for him, and that, you know, this, knowing that this is really the last chance for him to win the World Cup for his country, you know, that was probably a moment that he's going to be thinking about for the rest of his life, because that was a chance where, if you give Ronaldo chances to go through on goal, yeah, he usually buries it, but this one he only hits it right to Bono. But then in the third minute of stoppage time, Shaqiri actually got his second yellow card, and he literally got one right about 2 minutes after he got his second yellow card. So that was definitely not a great moment for Shaqiri to get his second yellow card in just quick succession. And Morocco was down to 10 men, and knowing they were already facing against it because Portugal was pushing for that equalizer. Though they had a chance to shut the door in the 6th minute, and probably they should have done, because Abracala was clean on goal here. He was one-on-one with Costa here, and I think he was thinking about the headlines, because he just could not keep his composure there. Couldn't connect that one cleanly, and it basically was a weak shot that Costa was able to gather that one. And that, at that moment, I'm pretty sure every Moroccan fans are thinking, oh great, that is gonna come back to haunt us. And it looked like it was going to, but in the 7 minute of stoppage time, Pepe would miss it just wide on the header in the back post. And we have seen Pepe have scored those kind of goals throughout his long and industrious career. But yeah, he just could not quite steer that one in. I mean, that has to give a huge sigh of relief to those Moroccan fans in the stands, and probably the whole nation, and maybe even the entire continent of Africa, because I'm pretty sure the entire continent of Africa, and especially the Arab world, was rooting for Morocco in this one. I think that also kind of maybe explain why there's been a lot of Moroccan fans, where it's getting to a point where I think even some of the fans from the Arab world are basically now Moroccan fans, because they want to root for their brothers to move on to the next round and continue to create history, which that's exactly what Morocco did. Like I said, they got not only the 1-0 win to Portugal to move on to the semi-final, they become the first African team to do so, and will be playing against France in the semi-final. And the shots in this one, 12 shots committed, 9 that Morocco has. Both teams had 3 shots on goal, 6 shots off target for both of these teams, 3 shots that was blocked committed, none that Morocco has. And possession-wise, 73% possession compared to 27% possession that this Moroccan team has. And again, this Moroccan team, they do have that similar kind of vibe of that Croatia team from 2018, and even you could argue the Croatian team from this tournament. Although I will say that unlike that Croatian team from 2018 and even in 2022, this team, at least, they haven't been able to find themselves behind the 8 ball, and I think that's kind of what you need to do. Like, if you don't find yourself behind the 8 ball and you don't find yourself go behind early, you always have a chance to move on into the next round, and that's exactly what Morocco has done. And especially, there's a reason why the old saying, defense wins championship, and that it seems like that's kind of the philosophy for Morocco, where they make it incredibly hard for you to break them down, and then they're very optimistic in terms of taking their chances going forward, and therefore they're moving on into the next round. And when you face against that kind of team, I don't care how talented you are, that is going to be a very tough team to face. And I think that might be something that France will definitely have to take in account for. Which, speaking of which, in the next game that I'm going to talk about, between England versus France were able to win this one 2-1. But I will say this was one of those games where we have seen this happen a couple of times, where the better team did not win the game. In this one, I thought England were the better team in this one, and they definitely had more chances in this one compared to the French. But how many times we have talked about how when you don't put away your opportunity and aren't able to solve the opposition goalkeeper, yeah, it's going to come back to haunt them. And also, if you want to go narrative-wise, I think this is probably the most England way to get eliminated from a World Cup tournament, which is missing a crucial penalty that could have maybe sent this one into extra time. Now, in the first half, England was definitely on the front foot early, as they were looking to score an early goal. Though it was France the one that gets the first big opportunity, as Giroud heads one right to Pickford. But then in the 17th minute, the French gets the first blood in this heavyweight matchup, and it's Chouamani that scored from Griezmann to make it 1-0 in favor of France. That was an absolute golazo from Chouamani. I mean, of all the guys that you think that is going to get the opening goal in this heavyweight matchup, I don't think anybody would have thought Chouamani would be the guy, but he absolutely hammered that one from long range there, and that Pickford just had absolutely no chance in terms of saving that. Like, that was placed in such a good area where no goalkeeper in the world was going to save. And yeah, just like that, France lead 1-0. I mean, you could argue maybe England could have done better in terms of closing down, but I just think that was just kind of one of those one where you just kind of had to tip your hat off to the goal scorer, because that was just an amazing goal that was scored there from Chukwamani and France. And yeah, France were up 1-0. But in the 21st minute, Shaw had a free kick that goes right to Lloris before Lloris had to deny his club teammate Harry Kane. But then there was a scramble that happened in the French box, and this won't be the last time we will see a mini scramble in the French box, which England wasn't able to slot it in. And again, England, they have responded well. They were pressing to try to get the equalizer. They were definitely finding space in that French backline. There was then a huge shout for a penalty that Kane feel like he was brought down by Upamecano, and I gotta say, there's definitely a claim that could have been a penalty, and this was definitely one of the more controversial call in this game. And that, my thinking of why maybe they didn't point to the spot. I mean, they even go to VAR to see whether if that is the case, and I think the reason why maybe they didn't go to the point to the spot there, the referee, is that he feels like maybe Kane was brought down outside the box, because it was very close when Meccano brought down Kane there. I mean, at a rate where I think maybe in the end they did get the right call, where there wasn't definitive evidence to kind of overturn that one. And I heard they've also said about how VAR can't just overturn something that is just a free kick, unless if it's like a penalty that was given, and then they go to VAR and found out that was kind of outside the box. Either way, that I find it kind of weird that of course is not the case. I feel like at the very least, at least give that free kick to England, because that's still a very dangerous area where England can operate. But one thing I will say is that, again, the gaps were apparent on this French back line, and that I think that was definitely a huge wake-up call to this France team, because England was just finding ways to get past this French back line, and that they were continuing to piling on those pressure to try to get the equalizer. In fact, there was another scramble for the ball in the box there, and France just able to clear that one away. Mbappe then get his first real good looks in the 39th minute, but he blasted high there. I thought Mbappe, he definitely didn't had the best of the game. In fact, you could even say that this was probably his worst performance in this World Cup, but credit to this England team. They really shut down Mbappe throughout this one. But we do go to halftime with France leading 1-0, and in the second half, Lloris would deny Bellingham from long range, and on the following corner, Lloris got away with one here. I mean, he basically missed this punch here, and he is very fortunate that the ball actually, I think he took a couple of ricochet off of a couple of English players, but it somehow just went behind for a goal kick. And that, yeah, when you're a goalkeeper and you miss a punch like that, you better be counting your lucky star. The fact that of course would eventually go wide, which that of course is the case. I mean, that was really, I think, the only mistake that Hugo Lloris made, because he was excellent in this game, and he had to be, because throughout this tournament he hasn't really had anything to do except here, where he had to come up big with the way that England was really putting the pressure. Though that being said, in the 52nd minute, a penalty was given to England as Chukwamani would brought down Saka in the box. So Chukwamani basically went from hero to zero from the first half to the second half, because that was just a needless challenge there to bring down Saka in the box, which in the 53rd minute, Harry Kane steps up for the penalty, and he buries it to tie the game up at one piece in this one. But then France almost retake the lead just 1 minute later, as Rabiot was clean on goal there, but he was robbed by Pickford as he was going one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and England can probably breathe a huge sigh of relief, because they absolutely got caught out there. I mean, there's a reason you're always the most vulnerable when you score a goal there, and England just completely switched off there, and France almost took advantage of it. But Saka then hits one right to Lloris before Kane did the same thing in the 62nd minute. There was more gaps apparent in this French backline there. I mean, they were struggling throughout this game in terms of containing this English attack, especially containing Bukayo Saka, who had a really good game for England in this one. The shots were 11-5 in favor of England. Maguire had a chance on the header, but he nicked it just on the left side of the post before Saka would puts it wide on the doorstep of the goal there. There was then a huge shout for a penalty for England as Bellingham thought that he was brought down in the box, but nothing was given there. Before in the 75th minute, Giroud would heads it wide from close range, and then Pickford had to rob Giroud from close range there. And this was really the first time, I think, in this game where France actually created multiple dangerous opportunity, because up to that point, for most of this game, it's been England the one that has created most of those opportunity. And little did we know that as soon as France finally started to get some good attacking flow, they would actually score the what would be the winning goal of this quarterfinal. And it's Olivier Giroud scoring from Griezmann here to make it 2-1 in favor of France. Beautiful ball there from Griezmann, and even an excellent header from Olivier Giroud there. And yeah, that gives the French a 2-1 lead, but that lead looked like it was going to be short-lived, because in the 88th minute, a penalty was given to England after VAR deemed that Theo Hernandez brought down Saka in the box there, and that was not even a discussion. Like, the fact that I think the only discussion is how in the world did they had to even go to VAR and even the referee to look at to see that should be a penalty. I mean, it was pretty blatant obvious that Theo Hernandez completely trucked Saka in the box there, and that it was just a clear penalty there for England. So here comes Harry Kane, another opportunity to bury it from the spot, but unfortunately this time he blasted high from the spot. And again, I don't know if that has anything to do with the fact that Hugo Lloris trying to maybe play some mind game of Harry Kane. Again, you know, both of these players play for Tottenham, and I'm pretty sure Hugo Lloris was trying to maybe riled up Harry Kane like he maybe sometime did during training. But whatever he did, it worked, because it really put off Harry Kane. I think Stu Holden even mentioned the fact that I think Kane might have kind of panicked when he realized that the way that he was going was actually covered by Lloris there. So at the last second, he basically just kind of blasted that one high. And I think he also tried to elevate the ball, but he just elevated way too hard there. I mean, it just completely missed the target there. And cue all those memes about how have the ball have landed from that Harry Kane penalty. But that being said, in the 89th minute, Mount did blast it into the stands. Oh, by the way, it's actually not Saka, the one that was brought down. It was actually Mason Mount, the one that was brought down in the box. I was thinking about the first penalty there. So yeah, just a little correction in terms of that. I'm pretty sure some might have even put in the comments that I got it wrong in terms of talk about that penalty kick for England, and it was actually the wrong player that was fouled. But I did correct myself. It was actually Mason Mount, the one that did that draws the penalty. I mean, he didn't really need to draw the penalty. That was just a needless challenge, and just an uncalled for challenge there from Theo Hernandez. But as the time kind of winds down, England, you know, they were throwing the kitchen sink, because they know that they do not want to suffer another heartbreaking World Cup exit. And they had a chance in the 10th minute to make amends of the penalty miss when Rashford, we know he already scored a free kick goal, and he's been very dangerous in terms of that spot, and he just put this one on the roof of the net from 20 yards out. And as soon as the ball was put back into play, the final whistle was blown as France is moving on into the next round. They hand England another heartbreaking World Cup exit. As the shots in this one, 16 shots compared to 8 that France had, 5 shots on goal compared to 8 that England has, 4 shots off target compared to 2 that France had, 4 shots that was blocked compared to 1 that France has, and possession-wise, 57% possession compared to 43% possession that France has. And again, England, they were the better team in this one. But, you know, we've seen it before. Just because you're the better team in this tournament doesn't mean you're always going to win the games, because they were just not being clinical enough in this one, and that France just being a little bit more clinical in this game. But I will say that for France, you know, one thing that I am a little worried about this French team heading into that game against Morocco in the semifinal is that I'm going to be interested to see how are they going to be able to have possession and basically find ways to break down their opposition, because most of the games I've seen France so far, and most of the ways that they've been able to score has kind of comes from the positional play, and you know they definitely have the quality to do that. And even at times where they maybe have like one or two good spell of play, and they've been able to take advantage and score those goals. I don't know if that's going to be the same case when they, of course, face against Morocco, because again, you know, this is the thing about when you are a team like France. I mean, you would think that in a game between France and Morocco, and I even said during my prediction that maybe France might have too much in terms of what Morocco has done, but just seeing how Morocco has just really taken this underdog role, and that they have really just been an inspiration for teams that, you know, even though you might not be the most talented team in the world, if you work hard and you've been able to defend well and be optimistic going forward, then you can definitely go a long way. And you know, sometimes those are always the most dangerous team to face, and probably the toughest team to face. So I'm very interested to see that game between France and Morocco, and that, you know, whatever happens, there's definitely going to be history that is going to make in that game too. Morocco could be the first African team to make it to the World Cup final, or France could be the first team that won the World Cup in the previous year to go back to the World Cup final the very next year. And that, I don't remember who was the last team to do that. I think it was Brazil that did it in 92 and 96, where they won it in 92, and now, or not 92, 94, and then they of course went back to the World Cup in 98. But obviously we know what happened in that World Cup final. They lost to France there, but they kind of made it up for it by winning the World Cup in 2002, and you know, that was part of just such a great Brazilian kind of dynasty. I mean, should I use the word dynasty in terms of the teams in the World Cup? Hey, why not? I mean Brazil making 3 straight World Cup final, I think that's something that you definitely maybe won't see it in another day, but France are trying to do that, and we'll see whether if they can do so. And again, it's not going to be easy against a Moroccan team that this team, they have no fear. Like they're basically playing with house money, and whatever happens in that game, I think every Moroccan players and their fans should be very proud of their national team. But there you have it. That is pretty much it for the review of both of these games. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of both of these games? And again, these next couple of days, we will once again not have some World Cup action, but we'll pick it up on Tuesday in terms of the first semifinal game before we have the second semifinal game. And it's also hard to believe, but next week is the World Cup final. I mean, this tournament, it feels like it's gone by very, very fast because of how many games have played in short period. But you know, we're gonna be crowning a new champion, or maybe the defending champion, because France are still in this tournament. So yeah, we might see history of maybe the first repeat champion in the World Cup, and we'll see if that of course is the case. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.